I know this video topic may come off as controversial, as some people don't like NIL in the portal, or especially when big schools poach smaller schools' best players. But the portal is not going away, and this is reality at this point. And in today's video, I want to talk about 10 Group of 5 quarterbacks who I think should enter the 2026 transfer portal and quote-unquote go get paid. These are guys who are super talented, are putting up good numbers, or have tons of potential, and I think it'd be really cool to see them at a Power 4 school, competing against the best competition. But before we get started, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover next. Now let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for our first guy, I want to talk about a player by the name of Colton Joseph. He's personally one of my favorite Group of 5 quarterbacks this year, and since he was part of the class of 2023, he definitely has time to enter the transfer portal and go to a bigger school. Coming out of Newport Harbor High School in California, Colton would go all the way across the country to Old Dominion after being ranked as the 103rd best quarterback in the class of 2023. Joseph has always been a unique player, as before he was at Old Dominion, he ended up rushing for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and also threw for 4,100 yards and 41 touchdowns as a senior. I have absolutely no idea why he did not get bigger offers, but Colton Joseph was always a hidden gem. And after not playing in 2023, he would take over the back half of the 2024 season and began to dominate. Colton ended up passing for 1,600 yards and 11 touchdowns, while also rushing for nearly 700 yards and 11 touchdowns. This guy was really incredible in his last few games, and that's why he was getting some buzz going into 2025. His first game of the season would come against Indiana, and to be fair, he had 3 interceptions in that game, but he still had nearly 200 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Hoosiers, which have one of the top defenses in the nation. Colton has been going insane, as in his last 8 games, he's had over 2,000 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, and has also added 7 more scores on the ground. He's already over 3,000 all-purpose yards, and the Monarchs still have at least 4 games to play. Joseph's a good athlete, and I think is the perfect quarterback for a Power 4 system. Honestly, he reminds me a little bit of Diego Pavia, so I wonder if he could end up going to a school like Vanderbilt. That would be cool. The second guy I want to talk about is Jaylen Raynor from Arkansas State. After coming out of East Forsyth High School in North Carolina, Raynor was only a 2-star recruit in the class of 2023 and was actually not even ranked nationally by 24/7 Sports. Raynor didn't have the most impressive offer sheet in the world, but he had decent numbers while he was in high school. He ended up throwing for 3,000 yards and 40 touchdowns and only 3 picks, while also rushing for 1,300 yards and 17 scores. He picked Arkansas State over Army, Air Force, Navy, and UMass, and I have no clue why he didn't have more offers. In 2023, he ended up winning the Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year and was really solid. He ended up passing for 2,500 yards and 17 touchdowns, while rushing for 400 more yards and 5 scores as well. In 2024, Raynor improved those numbers to 2,800 yards, and he still had 16 passing touchdowns. So far in 2025, Raynor has 2,500 yards and 13 touchdowns, but has increased his rushing scores up to 7. In total in 3 years with the Red Wolves, he has combined for nearly 10,000 yards and has over 60 touchdowns. Raynor's talent is being wasted at Arkansas State right now, and I don't see why he can't go up to a Power 4 school and get a decent paycheck. He's pretty good. Some would argue the best Group of 5 quarterback in the country is Byrum Brown from South Florida. Going back in time, he also came out of the state of North Carolina and was listed as the number 73 quarterback in the country and just inside the top 1,200. This was somewhat surprising, as Byron was also really good going back to his time in high school. He was a finalist for the Mr. Football Award, as he passed for 3,700 yards and 43 touchdowns as a senior. He also rushed for 1,200 yards and 13 more touchdowns. He ended up arriving at USF in 2022, and he played a little bit. He ended up starting in 2023, throwing for 3,300 yards and 26 touchdowns, and helped Alex Golesh and the Bulls break out. After being injured for most of last year, he has come back strong so far in 2025, throwing for 2,200 yards and 19 touchdowns, while also rushing for 700 yards and 9 scores. Brown is one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the country, and no matter what, he's got 1 year of eligibility left. I bet Alex Golesh takes a Power 4 job, and I bet Byrum follows him. He also may just leave regardless, because he could get a big paycheck. Up next, I want to talk about a player you definitely haven't heard of, and that is Devin Ferrell from Rhode Island. Going back in time, Ferrell was also another underrated recruit, as he was listed as the number 48 quarterback in the country and a 3-star recruit from Milton High School in Georgia. He'd actually originally decided to go to Virginia Tech, but this came after having nearly 2,013 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns as a senior in high school. He did not play at all during his first year at Virginia Tech, and after just one season, Ferrell would elect to transfer to Rhode Island. He was a backup in 2023, but last year he became a starter, throwing for 1,700 yards and 11 total touchdowns. In 2025, Ferrell has become one of the best quarterbacks in the FCS, as he has thrown for 2,700 yards and 18 touchdowns. He has over 5,000 all-purpose yards in his 2 years as a starter, and you'll definitely get a chance to bounce up to the FBS level and maybe even the Power 4s. GJ Kinney has done an excellent job evaluating the quarterback position, and redshirt freshman Brad Jackson is his next great quarterback at Texas State. Going back in time, Jackson was not ranked very highly, as coming out of Reagan High School in San Antonio, he was listed as the number 129 quarterback in the class of 2024, and was not even ranked inside the top 2,000 recruits in the country. Jackson was definitely underrated, as he had over 120 touchdowns in his 4-year career in high school. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong for him, but this guy was a stud. No matter what, he was picked up by Texas State, and last year he played a little bit as a backup, but so far in 2025, Jackson has been incredible. He has 2,400 yards passing with 13 touchdowns, and has also ran for just under 500 yards and 9 touchdowns. He reminds me a lot of Colton Joseph, and I definitely think he'll get a chance to go up to the Power 4 level. Jackson's the classic case of a guy who'll probably be ranked inside the 20s or 30s for transfer targets, but will end up being a lot better when it's all said and done. Jason Eck has done an incredible job coaching up New Mexico this year, and after losing Devon Dampier over to Utah, Jack Layne has become the starter. Coming out of the state of Oregon, Layne was not very highly regarded. I mean, in fact, nobody knew who this guy was, as he was literally listed as a 2-star recruit and the 208th best quarterback in the country. 24/7 Sports Composite didn't even have a profile for him. Jack Layne was a really solid player though, as while he was in high school, he was actually the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Oregon, as he put up really good numbers, throwing for 3,400 yards and 44 touchdowns. His uncle even played linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Layne would arrive at Idaho under Coach Eck. He played sparingly in 2022 and 2023, but took over as the starter in 2024 for the Vandals. That was after Giovanni McCoy. He threw for 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns, but once Jason Eck took the job at New Mexico, Layne followed him, and he has passed for just under 2,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. He also has 2 more rushing scores, and while he definitely won't be a huge target for 4 Power 4 teams, if Jason Eck takes a Power 4 job, I'm sure he will bring Layne with him again, and if not, he will at least get more money. Our next example is of a player who started out at the Power 4, but then went down to the Group of 5 and could end up back in the Power 4. This is a player by the name of Evan Simon, and coming out of Pennsylvania, he was actually listed as the number 35 pro-style quarterback in the country and a top 1,000 recruit. Evan Simon was pretty decent while he was in high school, as he threw for over 2,500 yards in 3 years of being a starter, and he would earn the opportunity to play for Rutgers. Simon would not get a chance to play much for the Scarlet Knights though, as in 3 years he had 5 touchdowns. He then transferred to Temple ahead of the 2024 season, where he passed for 2,000 yards and 15 touchdowns last year with 9 interceptions. In 2025 so far, he's improved all of his numbers, as he's now completing 63% of his passes, already has about 2,000 yards, and has 22 touchdowns compared to just 1 interception. This is much better than last season, and I believe he has 1 more year of eligibility remaining. If not, I could be wrong, but Simon will definitely get poached by a Power 4 school because he seems like a really good player and is super efficient. Talk about a player who is criminally underrated, and that is Micah Alejado. He is currently the starting quarterback for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, but going back in time, no one cared about the school or the numbers he put up. He ended up attending the infamous Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, and also was an incredible player while he was there. He ended up having over 9,000 yards and 125 touchdown passes, and also completed nearly 75% of his passes. For some unknown reason, big-time schools were not going after him, so he would end up at Hawaii. Alejado ended up playing a little bit last year, throwing for just under 600 yards and 6 touchdowns, and this year in Timmy Chang's high-flying offense, he already has 2,400 yards and 18 touchdowns, with only 7 interceptions. Hawaii is also having a successful season, and despite him being 5'10", there is definitely going to be a Power 4 school that offers him some money. Alejado can sling the rock, he's a lot of fun to watch, and honestly is super underrated. Like Evan Simon, Katin Houser has an opportunity to go from the Power 4 to the Group of 5 back to the Power 4, as going back in time, he also went to a huge high school, this one being St. John Bosco in California. While he was in high school, Houser ended up blowing up, and while his numbers didn't pop off the page, he was exactly what college scouts wanted. After originally committing to Boise State, Houser would flip to Michigan State, and he was listed as the number 11 quarterback and the 225th overall player in the nation as he would arrive at Michigan State in 2022. Houser would not get an opportunity to play much while he was at Michigan State, as after 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2023, Jonathan Smith would take the job and he would transfer to East Carolina. Houser would take over as the starter by the end of the season, throwing for over 2,000 yards and 18 touchdowns, and so far this year, Houser already has 2,500 yards and 14 touchdowns and has cut his interceptions in half. He's playing super efficient football right now, is becoming more of a dual threat as he has 6 touchdowns, and East Carolina isn't going to offer him the opportunities he really wants. I definitely think he's good enough to be a one-year rental at a Power 4 program, and some believe he also has NFL potential down the road. And last but not least, we need to talk about North Texas quarterback Drew Mestemaker. Eric Morris has an eye for finding quarterback talent, as he originally found both Cam Ward and John Mateer, and Mestemaker, a guy who was a backup in high school, was late on his radar. He offered him a preferred walk-on spot, but Mestemaker would start as a true freshman last year in their bowl game, throwing for over 400 yards. This was insane. He took over as the starter in 2025, and so far, he has 2,700 yards with 21 touchdowns and 4 picks, and also has 4 rushing scores. His numbers are some of the best in all of college football, and Eric Morris is primed to take a bigger head coaching job. There's potentially no Group of 5 quarterback who's had a better season than him, and I guarantee you he's going to get paid one way or another, either to stay at North Texas or to go to some sort of big program. We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, today I talked about 10 Group of 5 quarterbacks who I think will end up getting paid this year and will enter the portal and become big names. But what do you think? Who's another underrated quarterback I should include in part 2, and what other topic should I cover next? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out some of the videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.